Hi everyone, this side Rajika. So welcome to my very first video created for CBSE 12th Economics. I hope it would help you as you guys are sitting right now at your places, at your home. We are locked in the lockdown situation. So I think this video perfectly help you for the same, and hope you'll able to understand the concept as per the new curriculum drawn by the CBSE and CERT. Or let's see, although it's not new, one board examination has been done on the basis of this, but I think this particular video help you to understand what all you need to prepare for your board examination in 12th class. So I will be teaching you topic wise topic. If you're really interested in looking for topic wise videos, you can go for it. So my first topic or the chapter that I've picked from the very interesting Indian economic development chapter. This basically has been divided under certain units. If you can see your curriculum, it's clearly mentioned in that curriculum that how many units are there under the Indian economic development chapter. The weightage of this chapter in the board examination, or this book, not the chapter but the book, is of 40 marks. That means this entire book of Indian economic development will come for the 40 marks. This particular chapter that I'm going to start with is the unit 6, that is your development experience 1947 90 and economic reform since 1991. So ideally it would be of 12 marks as per the weightage given by the CBSE, right? So when we say 12 marks, that means the content from this chapter will come in your board examination is of 12 marks. So this is the weightage of this chapter. So not this chapter but this unit, this particular unit. So this particular unit is further divided into various chapters, right? So the very first chapter under the development experience 1947 and 90 economic reform is your chapter 1, that is your Indian economy on the eve of independence, right? So this is our very first chapter that I'm gonna cover for you guys in this very particular video. But not the entire chapter because it's quite lengthy chapter, and if you really want or look for a detailed understanding of the chapter, then you need to see my further videos as well to cover the entire chapter. So I will be dividing this chapter as per the following topics that I've mentioned. I have not done anything wonder to it. It is completely given by the CBSE how to go about it, and these are the various topic that has been mentioned in your book. So if I'll talk about the very first topic is low level of economic development and colonial rule. So that we are going to do that, all these topics that I am going to cover in my further videos, right? So today I'm going to start with the very first topic from the same chapter, that is your low level of economic development under colonial rule. Before starting the chapter, let me tell you what I have seen or what I have gone through while preparing this video. My only the thing which was in my mind while preparing this video, that all of you 12 students are quite progressive in scoring good grades and looking forward to it. So my videos are concentrated on the basis of long question answers, because through that I will be automatically covering your 3 marker or 4 marker or 2 marker or 1 marker question itself, not the exactly 1 marker, but yes, you can cover through these video till 1 marker. So my approach would be such that how you will be writing or what all point you will be covering under the 6 marks question. So I hope rather than going or picking the content wise from the book, what I have done, the very first topic, what question can be asked or framed from this very particular topic in the board examination, where I am not repeating the content, but yes, the content are different, and how they will be how they can be asked in the form of HOTS in the board examination. So I will be covering that. So simple question will automatically covered with the hot question. Right, so let's start my very first topic, that is low level of economic development under colonial rule. So when I say economic development, it's quite simple term. You must have studied in your earlier classes as well, where you have done the differentiation between economic development and economic growth. So, just for your understanding, I'll just repeat the economic development. Economic development, when we talk about the overall development of the country. Overall development includes your GDP, per capita income, national income, along with some other factor that influence that influence or that helpful in achieving the economic development, like your literacy rate, infant mortality rate, net attendance ratio. If you remember your 10th class, you have done this in very much detail, economic development. So during the colonial rule, okay, let's talk about the colonial rule first. What is colonial rule? If you remember the Battle of Plassey, that has been happened, that had been happened earlier. So the Britishers from that point of time came to India, right? That tenure or that time period or that particular period, what was the economic development? So colonial rule is basically refers to a situation where the controller, that was the Britisher, and who were controlling the particular colony, that is India. What was the economic development state? Though the state were very different in terms of your social, economic, cultural, and number of ways. But in this particular topic, we will be covering only the economic aspect of that very particular time period, right? So we are very clear that with the data which is available with us from the past, that it is a low level economic development. So, how it is low level of economic development? India had an independent economy before the advent of the British rule. So, what we are discussing, when the British came to India, before that, what was the state of Indian economy? How was the country look like? How it was doing, कैसा कर रही थी, right? So that what we are going to discuss for the very first question, that what was the level of Indian economy on that point of time when Britishers were not there. We were free from the rule of the Britishers. So it's very clear. Justify. The question can be asked in that way. Question, and very rare probability, if you'll ask me, they will be asking before the independence or before the before the Britishers rule, what was the condition. But still it is there in your book, so we should cover it. So the India was independent in terms of performing economic and non-economic activity before the advent of British rule. How we were free? It's clearly, if you'll see the available data with you, there was a dominance of agriculture where 2/3 of the total population engaged in it. Still the country economy characterized by the various kind of manufacturing activities, that we were always a country where the dominance of agriculture is high, where the inclination of the people towards the agriculture very high. Even on that point of time, there was a 2/3 of the population engaged in the agriculture activity. But yes, there were certain signs of agriculture activity, of manufacturing activity were also there. We were very well known throughout the world, especially for our handicrafts. There was a quite high demand of our products of handicraft, especially in the field of silk cotton, because we were having textiles industries who are producing silk and cotton, not for the country but for the rest of the world. Basically, we were exporting. We were rich in natural resources in terms of metal and precious stones, so we were also selling this, or we were famous for it. Why the demand for handicraft was very high even on that point of time? Because of two reasons: whether we were serving the very fine quality of material and high standard of craftsmanship was there. The kind of work that were presented by the craftsmen of India was very great. Great work they were producing. That is why the demand was quite high. At the same time, we were the self-reliant economy in terms of the food grains, in terms of the requirement that the food, the crops or the grains that we need for the day-to-day life. We were quite self-relevant. So that is the point that you need to cover under this particular question, or that they can ask in the paper, that what was the state of Indian economy before the rule of the Britishers, or that very particular statement can help you to. I hope it is clear to you. So another question that can come in your examination, define the term colonialism. It's very, the probability of coming this question is of only, I think, 2 marks somewhere, not more than that. They might be covering in the definition, or somehow in the form of MCQ they can ask you some other way. So I was telling you colonialism I have already discussed when I've started my video. Still for once again, when we talk about a system where political and social relationship between two countries, political and social relationship. Political means the basically the management, or you can say the governance, is basically is in the hand of the people, those who are ruling it, among the countries, and the relationship among those two countries. But in the case of India, the political and social relationship was quite disturbing between the Britishers and the Indians. And the Britishers were the people, those who were ruling or dominating country, who were deciding all the administrative or governance of the country, who has taken over the control. They came to India as a East India company to run the East India Company, but gradually they have taken the control over the management or the government part of the India, and they gradually they just took over all the control of the country, right? So the ruling country has a political control along with the determination of economic policy. Very important. It's not just the people are being controlled, or the the leaders are being controlled by the Britishers, but also the policy that were framed to run the economy, that was were also under the control of the Britishers. So this is called colonialism. It can be asked for 1 marks, but over here I have given the brief history also, that who ruled 200 years. We know that Britishers ruled to India approx 200 years, and the foundation of British Empire laid down from the Battle of Palasa, which was fought in 1757. So this can be asked in the paper for 1 marker, how the Britishers entered or established their this thing under the colonialism. So this is what they can ask in the very first topic. Okay. Next we have a very important question, which is quite important in terms of board examination. They can ask you that what was the impact of economic policy that has been pursued by the colonial government in India, or state the economic condition through national income or per capita income during the colonial government of in India. Be very careful. Economic policies formed by the Britishers, that is colonial government in India, the impact, the policies they were not going to ask, because that would be covering under the other topics. What was the policy, or how they were ruling the country, what was the rules set by them for the country. That is a separate topic as per the various sector of the economy. So that we will be covering in the next video. But question is that when the policies has been implemented or have been implemented by the government, by the Britishers, what was the impact of it on the general public? Is there a relevant outcome of it, or what was the outcome? Is it in the favor of the country, or is it against of the country? No doubt it was against of the country, because whenever somebody rule over some other country, the purpose is only to exploit the natural resources or make best use of the resources available with you. So this in this question, so you will be explaining the impact of economic condition. One more very important aspect when we talk about the economic development, the one important factor that influenced or that we always consider while talking about economic development is national income or per capita income. So that if that form the question will come, that's fine, economic policy. Or if they are specifically asking income or per capita income, still the answer would remains the same. You may reduce certain point that I will be discussing further. Okay, so let's start with the question. The economic policies pursued by the colonial government in India were concerned with the protection and promotion of Britishers' own economic interest rather than the development of India. Very true. See, tell me, if somebody is ruling you, what was his purpose of ruling you? Obviously for their self-interest. What they will think for the people, those to whom they are ruling? No, they are not in the they are not there to benefit them. Their only purpose of them is to basically just to take care of the things that they are looking for, right? So following are the impact of the such policies in India. Let's see the very first impact. The first impact says these policies transform the fundamental structure of the country. fundamental structure is basically the base. When we construct any building, so there's a one particular base we need to form beneath the earth, so that that building should stay for a longer time period, should get the strength to stay for a longer to stand, right? So that fundamental structure were entirely changed at the time of Britishers. They were completely looking for a country, for the resources. So the that fundamental structure bring the country from the supplier of raw material to the and the consumer of the finished product produced by the Britishers or Britain. Earlier, they were not supplying as much raw material, they were just producing or trying to produce, or were indulged in the use of those raw material through industries like silk or textile, cotton, or few others. But Britisher came, they changed the entire scenario of the country. They made the country the supplier of a raw material. And whenever any country is supplying raw material, that means automatically the industrial sector will reduce in that very country, because raw material is the lifeline for the industrial sector. If you export your raw material to some other country, automatically you will left with nothing to produce within your own country, right? So during the British or colonial rule, they were very clear that not a single raw material or maximum of the raw material should be taken away from the India. So they became the supplier of the raw material, and finally they insisted the people of the country to buy the product that has been formed in the industries that were established in Britain. That means they took the raw material, processed them in their own country, that is in Britain, bring back again those finished product, and they were selling those products within the country India, right? So it was foundation for them to buy the products that were produced by the Britishers, and they have to give away your raw materials. So the impact of those economic policies, the rule set by the government was clear, that India will supply the raw material and they will produce the finished goods that has been produced by the Britishers in their own industries, right? So it's quite clear, it's very dominating, and it's not good for the Indian economy. The second point says, since no sincere effort were taken by the Britishers to estimate the India's national income and per capita income. It's quite obvious, when you are ruling any country, you never go for the progress report of that very particular country. You definitely use the resources of that country to bring change in the progress report of your own country. Obviously Britain were looking for the growth of their own country, so they might be calculating their national income or per capita income. They were least bother to calculate the national income or per capita income. Okay, now the question, it's a general understanding of the question, why in macroeconomics you have learned how to calculate national income, and you understand what is the importance of calculating national income or per capita income for a country. Like today we talk about that the economic growth, or we talk about the position of one particular country in comparison to other country, we always go for the calculation of national income and per capita income, but they were really hardly bother for the national income for and per capita income. Apart from these calculation, there were few economists who tried even on that point of time to calculate the national income or per capita income, like Dadabhai Naroji. He was very famous economist on that time. He took initiative. William Digby, Finlay Shiraz, VK Rao, he is very famous personality. If you'll see read the history, he still being remembered to do the calculation for the same. RC Desai. These were the few people or economists who took initiative to calculate the national income or per capita income, but the result drawn by each of them were quite conflicting and inconsistent. बहुत ही conflicting था, बहुत ही inconsistent था. That means you cannot draw any conclusion, you cannot come to any one single data that you can say, yes, this is the national income or per capita income. But still, out of all those things, there was still VK Rao at the end during the colonial government, the most most significant outcome was considered of V.K. Ram. Now, why this data has been given to you, or the few name of economists, it can be asked in the 1 marks. So please learn these name in context of calculating national income at the time of colonial or British rule. Okay, fine. Okay, let's another thing. Still, we were not able to calculate it, but still somehow we calculated it, or we have certain information that the growth rate or real GDP was less than 2% per year, which was quite this thing that very embarrassing for the country, where there is a lot of resources available, a lot of population is there, still the growth rate was very low. At the same time, per capita outcome was 0.5% per year around first half of 20th century. When this particular data has been given to you, the only purpose is to giving it to understand the importance of data, because in board examination they will be expecting you to write or frame answer by including such piece of information. So that was the impact of economic policies pursued by the colonial government in India. I hope it is clear to you. So today I have covered the topic with you, the low level of economic development under colonial rule. If you really liked it, please click a like button and subscribe my channel to see my or check my further videos that will help you to for easy going for your board examination. Hope you like the video. I'll be having the Hindi version of the same soon, so you can go for it. Thank you.